Welcome to Auntie Didi's Tales from the Motherland, where the animals talk, the sky remembers, and every story holds a little bit of magic. Today, we travel to Kenya, a beautiful country in East Africa. Kenya is known as the cradle of humanity because several significant fossils have been found there which tell us about our history as humankind. Kenya is so beautiful. There are several other things that Kenya is known for. Example, the Great Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is Africa's largest lake. Kenya also has several safaris with beautiful animals, mountains, beaches, art, and a rich, diverse culture. Of course, with beautiful people. Now, in the old days, villages were built around a water body, like a lake, because water is life. It made sure that plants grew, animals came to the water body to drink, and people came to get water to cook, wash, and drink. Near the shores of Lake Victoria, in the lively town of Kisumu, lived a little girl named Akinyin. Akinyin was 8 years old with bright, curious eyes and a beautiful smile. She loved drawing, eating juicy mangoes, and listening to stories from her uncle, whom she called Uncle Cool. After eating supper, which was typically ugali, a meal made from corn flour, vegetables, and some fried tomatoes and meat, she would sit with Uncle Cool, who would share tales from when he lived in New York City and all the friends he had and how they would go play basketball together and then go partying. He was truly cool. They were handsome Africans, and so the neighborhood called them Cool and the Gang, after the popular music band. Akinyi listened to her uncle's tales eagerly because it spoke to a deep yearning in her heart. You see, Akinyi had trouble making friends. Not because she was weird or anything. She just didn't have friends that she could call her own gang. Friends that they would have their own secrets, inside jokes, style of doing their hair, and all that. All the friends she tried to make seemed okay on the surface, but didn't really follow her values and interests. For example, she tried to join the Powerpuff Girls, pretending to like their mean tons of other kids, flashy dressing, and disdain for mangoes. That didn't quite work out. She also tried to join the Mathulators, who looked down at others if you couldn't do sums in your head in less than a minute, and they thought drawing was for airheads. For both groups, she had to keep pretending to be who she wasn't, just because she really wanted to fit in, and though she fit in for a while, she was really unhappy, and she lived in fear that if they found out that she was mostly pretending, they were going to make fun of her, or worse, banish her. Gosh! What a strain to pretend to be someone else daily. If they said they hated mangoes, Akinyi pushed her favorite fruit away and said, "I hate them too." If the girls wanted to play numbers, she played with them even though it made her head hurt. If they wanted to sing, she forced herself to sing along when she would rather draw, and she didn't exactly have a great singing voice, which ended up at her being laughed at most times. If they teased someone else, she laughed along and added her own taunts, even when her stomach twisted with guilt. She really didn't think that taunting was good or kind. Each day, Akinyi wore a different smile, different masks, like changing clothes to fit the weather. But no matter how hard she tried, the friendships never lasted. She was always on the outside, never really let into the core of the groups. It was as if they sensed that something wasn't quite right. One afternoon, She sat by the lake, skipping stones and fighting tears. I don't know why I can't just fit in. I try and I try. I still just can't fit in. I really want friends, but it's like nobody wants me. As she cried softly to herself, a soft voice answered, "Perhaps you're not fitting in because you're too fluid." Who's that? Don't you know privacy? This is supposed to be a private moment. Who's that? She kept asking because she didn't see anybody who would speak to her and say that. But sitting on a log near the river's edge was an old crane, its white feathers glowing in the sunlight. "It's me, speaking to you." This couldn't really be happening. Akinyin rubbed her eyes. This can't be happening.
Akinyin, you see, this is another reason why you don't fit in. You're going mental. You're truly an airhead. How can you be thinking a bird is talking to you?
The crane chuckled. "You're not an airhead. I did speak to you. And yes, birds can talk." What are you?" Akinyin asked, really scared. "I am nothing but a watcher," the crane said gently. "I'm not here to hurt you. I've been watching you for a while, and I've seen you wear many masks." Akinyin frowned. "Masks? What do you mean?" "Yes," said the crane. "You pretend to be what others want. But how can anyone know you if you keep hiding?" Akinyin's shoulders slumped. "I just want friends, and I try to be who I think they will like." The crane nodded slowly and wisely. "Then be brave enough to be real." "What does it mean to be real?" Akinyin asked. But she got no answer, for when she looked, the crane was gone. Be real. What kind of advice is that? I get a talking bird talking to me, and the only thing he says is be real, be real. What does that even mean? Well, I guess there's no harm in trying. I could try to be real and see how that goes. That evening, Akinyin told her uncle everything, who listened quietly and then smiled. "My dear," he said, "even the lake does not pretend to be an ocean. And yet, many come to it. You see, Cool and the gang wasn't the only group of friends on the block. There were others before and after us. But what made us so cool wasn't because we fit in, but because we proudly stood for what we believed in. And others who shared our values, they joined in." That makes sense, Uncle. Yes, of course it makes sense. After all, I am Uncle Cool. The next day at school, something changed. When the girls asked, "Let's go sing," Akinyin shook her head. "Thank you, but I'd rather draw." When they teased another child, Akinyin said clearly, "That's not kind. You shouldn't do that." Some children walked away. Some laughed and scorned her. But for a moment, Akinyin felt scared. And then two classmates, Otieno and Nima, stopped. "Did I hear you say you draw?" Nima asked. "Yes," Akinyin said, holding her breath, trying not to show how nervous she was. "Can you show us?" Otieno smiled. And she did, joyfully so. Akinyin drew smiling children swimming in Lake Victoria. "Akinyin!" Otieno and Nima exclaimed. "You're so talented! This picture is beautiful! Why did you hide this all along? Please, 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 can you teach us how to draw? You've got to teach us to draw like you. We can form an art club. Yes!" And for the first time, Akinyin, her eyes wide with excitement, laughed without pretending, her heart filled with joy. From that day on, Akinyin didn't try to be anyone else. She was real and herself. And slowly, like the sun rising every day, true friendships found her. The moral of the story, my darling children: when you stop pretending and start being your true self, the right friends will find you, and they will love you for who you really are. Thank you for listening to Tales from the Motherland with Auntie Didi. Until next time, remember to take care of the little things, for they make a big difference. Now, if you've enjoyed the story, why don't you like it? Share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you know when next we drop a new story. You could watch with your friends. Who knows? You guys would have your own gang.